What's up, sleepyhead?
Yo, I got the COVID vaccine and I've been sleeping.
Is that a polarizing topic now?
It seemes like
I see people posting like, if you got the vaccine, just unfollow me.
Okay, listen. Let me clarify something, okay? Let me clarify something, okay?
All right.
First of all, if you don't know, now you know that it is required by certain countries to have that vaccine to come in and out without having to quarantine for who knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
And I am planning on going to the UK in a few weeks, for which I need to have the vaccine. So that's why I got it.
Right.
I think otherwise, if it wasn't because it's a travel restriction, actually, I don't know what I would have done. Like probably at some point I would have just
made the
gotten
decision
it.
Easy for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Same for me. I got apparently Johnson & Johnson's like the hood one.
I know.
I went to the Joe Rogan, Chappelle thing, and they were all talking about like, the hoity-toity one is like Moderna, and then, like these like,
yeah.
I want that one that works sometimes.
Yeah.
That one shot.
Yeah. Yeah,
but that's what I got too.
Apparently, the efficacy of this one is not as great as the other ones.
Yeah,
because the other ones already have they're already updated to protect you against the Delta strain, which is like the latest one as well. But honestly, but that's the thing. I'm not worried about that. Honestly, I don't think we're part of the demographic. In most cases, I don't think we're part of the demographic that will suffer from that. Obviously, There's always the outliers. Someone's going to come out and being like, but I have a cousin. He was 22. And it's unfortunate, but it's not necessarily the norm.
Yeah. I mean, you're taking an educated risk.
Exactly.
And you're like, I did it because it's one shot. You're done. And then you can just go about your life. Like, I had no negative side effects. You kind of got floored for a day, though, huh?
For 2 days.
2 days? You woke up in the middle of the night, like, shaking.
I know. Yeah, that was very unpleasant.
But then that was that. Then you were good, right?
Yeah. I mean, then the next day I slept all day.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some side effects.
Yeah. You can say
How
that.
about now, though?
Still sleepy.
But I think your sleepiness now is a product of your training.
Maybe. I don't know anymore, man. I'm tired all the time.
I mean, you're training 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. That's pretty insane.
I think that'll do.
Yeah, that'll get you tired.
That'll tire you up.
I walked into the office today. I'm walking around the gym looking for Stefi, and then I come into the office and she's like, "That is not a comfortable couch." And you were like crammed in with like your head cranked like this, just asleep. Like you look like you died.
Listen, yesterday I sat down on my bed and I go, "Alexa, wake me up in 8 minutes." Next thing I know, that was at 3 p.m. Next thing I know, I woke up at 6:15 late for training. I'm like, how did that even happen? How is that even possible? I felt like I entered a time warp,
Yeah.
And just time sped up.
But your training's been getting crazy lately. How's it different now? Because I know, like, you started off training for boxing, like, still doing a ton of strength training.
Yeah.
And then slowly you switched into more cardio, and now it's mostly conditioning, at least from what I see. But maybe I think that's interesting because probably a lot of our listeners are either one or the other, never had to make the transition. So what, like, they're either strength athletes or they're cardio-based athletes or conditioning-based athletes.
Yeah. So, I mean, how it's been different in the sense that obviously the last camp and the fight exposed certain areas of weakness that I had to work more on. So one of them was just high intensity cardiovascular training. So not necessarily the long, slow distance cardio stuff, because with that I do really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like my body remembers how to pace itself, because I ran half marathons, I played soccer. I think I have a really good long kind of slow, steady state cardio base that I've gotten back. But my problem is with the higher intensity stuff. So, which is boxing, right? It's 2 minutes in the ring of like all as essentially bursts of all out effort every 5 to 10 seconds. And that's what's been the most challenging for me. So, my training's been more specific in that we've been working on that more. So specific conditioning and cardio for the purpose of tapping into that kind of anaerobic bursts of effort.
Okay. And so how are you doing that?
So basically it's We do different drills inside and outside of the ring where it's timed. So it's anywhere from 20 seconds to a minute of work in intervals, whether it's throwing punches at, with mitts or at the bag, or holding dumbbells, or doing some other exercise. You've seen me do the tire outside, the battle ropes, push-ups, whatever it is. It really doesn't matter what you do as long as you're working the energy system that's required for you to work on. Okay. So in our case, it's that kind of short explosive bursts for short periods of time, but we work all the way up to a minute.
Okay. Are you doing any strength training? Like traditional, what we would call traditional strength training?
So this is interesting. Pedro has a really unique way of programming boxing that I haven't seen anybody do. And anyone, any of the experienced boxers that have come with me to train just to, for a day or two, has been surprised at that style because it's really not non-traditional.
Yeah, Gogo is saying like everybody trains like a lightweight
compared to them.
Yeah, well, it's like the amount of volume that you guys are doing in there.
Yeah.
The amount of punches you're throwing when you're doing the what's it called, combat school.
Yeah.
All that stuff, like heavyweights don't usually train like that, I guess.
Yeah, everybody trains the same way. So essentially, the strength training is included in the circuits that we do. We do, we have barbells, we have dumbbells, we have kettlebells that we use for those circuits. And that's where the majority of the strength is, where we train the majority of the strength. But that's mainly because everybody is in season right now. Right. So most people are close to a fight or waiting for a fight to pop up. So I think that's why strength hasn't been directly prioritized. Uh-huh. The 5 reps or 3 reps or 2 reps, nothing like that. It's just been kind of included into a circuit.
But even once you guys are in season, I feel like your strength training would have to be done at a hybrid, because at Mundo, do they even have enough weights for you to lift?
For me, yeah. Right now, yeah.
Oh, come on. Right now.
Yeah. I'm weak, man. No. But this is what's interesting.
You know what Simon was saying, actually, just to talk on that? He was saying that you were filming a demo video for Animal, and he came in. He's like, he forgot just how ridiculously strong you are. And you had like 3 plates and a quarter on each side of the belt squat, and you're just doing that cold, no warm up for just to do a video for Animal. And then he was like, in his head, he's like, damn, that's what I was doing for my working sets. So he had to step it up the next time he came in.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a very skewed perspective of what strength is.
Yeah, I know you're speaking relative to your
exactly
your peak strength.
But this is what's interesting about Pedro's style. So you remember when we first started doing Olympic weightlifting that we were when we were first doing powerlifting that we were still doing weightlifting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were training for, I don't know, I think I was doing the MDUSA tryouts or something like that, and still trying to and actually trying to prioritize strength a little bit more, and people thought we were crazy.
No, it was actually for
nationals.
No, I thought we were training for that super total meet that we both won.
Whatever. It was several. There were actually quite a few. It was like there was a local meet, there was MDUSA, there was the Super Turtle meet, there was the AO for me, and I guess like that was a time when hybrid kind of was born, and we started getting mainly a lot of positive feedback and positive support, but some backlash from the weightlifting community, especially the American side or American style training of the weightlifting community, because it was something that wasn't the norm or traditional. There was a heavy misconception about strength training as it translates to Olympic weightlifting, and that
word.
Huh?
Hate that
translates.
Word. Yeah.
No, carryover is the word that we hate.
The same thing though.
As it relates to Olympic weightlifting, the old school train of thought of American weightlifting coaches is that if you do too much strength training, that it's going to make you stiff and slow, and you're going to somehow lose your mobility.
And also, for some reason, they think if you do bench press, you're going to miss all your snatches.
Yeah, and also
put your hands over your head.
And also, they think that for 1 week doing 10 rep squats is strength. and hypertrophy. That is hilarious to me.
I always see that with weightlifters.
But anyway,
doing tens, building that pyramid.
But anyway, for anyone who doesn't know kind of the beginnings of hybrid and what the benefits of training for strength were for me at that point in time when I was doing weightlifting, I think in that 1 year of combining weightlifting and powerlifting, I made more progress like at a much faster rate than compared to my initial few months of Olympic weightlifting.
For sure.
My snatch went up like 10 kilos. My clean and jerk went up like 15.
Yeah, I mean, because when you're making progress, when you're just starting, weightlifting or even powerlifting, a lot of the progress that you see in the beginning is just skill acquisition.
Yeah.
You're just getting better at the movement, so the weight goes up. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're challenging yourself enough to cause like real adaptations.
In strength, yeah.
In strength. So it's like, in weightlifting, you have guys who are experienced weightlifters who don't prioritize squat, deadlift, bench, any of the strength movements. And, they're doing them at the end of their workout when they're already tired. Mm-hmm. And then they're killing themselves trying to do 1 kilo, 2 kilo more in snatch or in clean and jerk. And it's like, if you just took a cycle and did no snatch and clean and jerk, just got your squat and your deadlift up, you would see 5 kilo.
And you don't even have to go that length. Like you can still keep your snatch, clean and jerk, but make your strength a priority. So that's essentially what we were doing. We were cycling from strength to skill, to skill, right? So we would do a block that had snatch maybe 2 or 3 times a week and only power snatches or muscle snatches or like just overhead squats precisely for that, right? To keep our range of motion, keep our mobility and keep the movement pattern sharp for when we come back. And then we would do maybe 2 or 3 times a week of light power clean and push press or light power clean and jerk or light clean and jerks, something that would take us 10 minutes to do. And then the main session was the strength, right? The bench, the squat, and the deadlift. And it's incredible just how well it works, especially when your technique is dialed in as a weightlifter. So basically the same principle can be adapted to any other sport. And again, it's what I used to say. It's so funny how it's repeating itself because it's what I used to say about when we talk about this. Every single other sport, every single other traditional sport requires a certain baseline level of strength,
right,
and body awareness, right? It is absolutely necessary, not only for the purpose of improving athletic performance, but also for the purpose of managing injury risk, right? We know that strength is the most efficient, what's the word I'm looking for? Not guard.
I don't know. I can't say the word either.
Buffer.
Yeah, there you go.
Strength is the most efficient buffer for injuries.
Right.
You're making your tendons stronger, your bones stronger, your nervous system is aware of certain movement patterns and how you're doing things. So
that's why quote unquote prehab programs are silly. A prehab program is just a well-written strength and conditioning program, right?
It's a weak strength and conditioning program.
A prehab one is.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but what I'm saying is like you can skip that and just do
the strength and that is actually what works.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if athletes of all other disciplines are doing that, what makes you think that weightlifters don't need it, or that weightlifters would hinder you if you're a weightlifter, or in the case now of combat sports, what makes you think that lifting in periods of time when you're farther away from a competition, or periodized in a way that makes sense based on your main thing, your sport, if it's organized appropriately, if it's undulated properly in terms of the load, the frequency, and the intensity and everything, then there's no reason why it should hinder you. And I see this. Listen, every time I go to a boxing gym and people see my physique, coaches, they immediately at first assume that I'm slow. Oh, with all that muscle mass, you're gonna.
Have you ever seen a sprinter?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jacked.
Yeah, it's like, oh, with all that muscle mass, you're gonna have a really hard time lasting in the ring, or you're probably really stiff and slow. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Yeah, I don't understand why they think that one can't exist without the other.
You think it's sort of that like wishful thinking that like powerlifters have when it comes to cardio, where powerlifters are like,
100%.
oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to hurt my gains, but really we're just being fat, lazy powerlifters. I
100%.
think
They're
it's the
in
same for
denial.
them. They just don't.
So-
They don't want to have to do the extra, the extra work.
So that's one, and the other is what I was telling you about how people get caught in old ways that. Oh yeah, probably they worked. There's been many world champions, I bet, that never lifted a weight in their life. But just because something works doesn't mean that it's the best way, right?
Yeah.
There are better ways. There are more things that you can do to enhance your game and to improve your performance that maybe you didn't even know existed. That's why I think it's so important to kind of always be receptive to changes in trends and to what's coming out in research and what other people are doing. But it's hard to change kind of people's preconceived notions of topics like this, where everybody considers themselves an expert.
Right. Yeah, especially if they've been a professional boxer or whatever for a long time. That's what you're exposed to.
Yeah.
Like you said, people who are doing something that has worked for them, and they just maybe can't see that something else could work better. So how would you then, I guess, what are you sneaking in strength sessions then? Or like how are you still kind of sticking to what you believe in?
So it's July 14th and sorry, Julio. So I'm 2 months out of my fight.
Whoa.
I know. So it's coming up close. So at this point, I've honestly, starting now, I'm going to be a lot better at just not doing extra work and really committing 100% to the plan. Because there's really no room. There should be no room for error as the fight gets closer and closer. But, prior to that or when I'm further away from a fight, I was still including 3 times a week of strength training, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, an upper body session, a lower body session, and a full body session. Just prioritizing the main lifts and then just a couple accessory exercises afterwards. Nothing crazy. I wasn't really too concerned about progressive overload and trying to lift more than the session before. I'm being really careful about that because I can get carried away with that stuff.
You're just lifting RPE basically, right?
Yeah.
Not caring what's on the bar, just what intensity you're supposed to work to.
Exactly. Yeah. Whatever feels challenging for that day, for the rep scheme that I'm doing, kind of thing. But I think it's imperative. It's so important to keep strength as a backbone, is what we say. Strength should be the backbone of athletic performance. If you don't have a solid strength base, and I'm not saying that you need to be a powerlifting world champion level strength, but you need to have a baseline of strength for sure. I see it in people that I train with. I see how you see how different I move to like other girls just because I have that awareness. I have that like core strength, that like just solid movement.
You have that ability to, it sounds sexist, but like kind of just pick things up the way a guy does, like an athletic guy.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of athletic girls and then it's like, hey, throw a football and it like goes backwards.
Yeah.
But for you can be like, it's like a perfect spiral first time. You just had that aptitude.
Yeah.
And I think that comes along with strength training when you're younger and doing a lot of, not just sports, but I think like GPP style, exercise when you're younger.
Yeah, for sure. And like, as far as a misconception about strength training making you slower, I think where people get it wrong is that you will produce positive training adaptations at the thing that you most frequently practice,
right?
And the thing that you prioritize, right? What are you doing? What do you do? What do you think, that I'm getting to a boxing gym and maxing out my bench and then trying to do a whole boxing session?
Yeah.
That wouldn't make sense, right? So I'm doing my whole boxing session, and then if I still have energy and if it makes sense with the workout I have the following day, maybe I'll do a 3x5, to maintain some level of strength, to build some level of muscle, or maintain a certain, a certain body composition. But that's how you think about it. Same with weightlifting. Okay. So the priority is, you're a weightlifter, your priority is snatch, clean, and jerk. Okay. But you still want to get stronger in bench. Cool. Go do your snatch, clean, and jerk. And at the end of the session, maybe once or twice a week, you do your bench. How Do you think that 1 or 2 bench press sessions a week are going to make you completely inflexible?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It just doesn't make any sense, or slow. If the
only
majority
did-
of the time you're moving fast,
Of course.
your body doesn't erase. It doesn't substitute one for the other.
You can also do bench in a way that's conducive to getting faster.
Right. You can also do bench press for reps really fast.
Yeah, speed reps.
Exactly.
Bands, all that stuff.
Exactly. So there's technique. There's many ways. It's not the what's that saying about the poison? Do you know? I think it's a Spanish saying. Is it a Spanish saying?
Is it like everything's poison? It's just a matter of dose?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with exercise. Everything can screw you up if you're just doing the wrong thing a lot.
Or if it's dosed inappropriately. If you're putting the thing in a place where it shouldn't be, it's gonna mess you up no matter what. But it's possible to put it in a place where it will actually help you, and that's the point. That's the point. The thing is, again, like in weightlifting, in combat sports, coaches are extremely old school and stuck in their old ways and don't believe in changing anything that they do. And it's a challenge. And the same applies for nutrition. So that has been one of the most frustrating things ever, because every gym I go to, at least once, somebody asks me if I walk around at fighting weight. And honestly, this is the lightest I've been in, I swear, in like maybe 5 to 8 years.
You're under 125, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm walking around under 125. And most boxers actually walk 20 or 30 pounds over their fight weight.
Yeah, because sometimes they get like 36 hours.
And then the techniques that they use to cut weight are absolutely insane. Yo, Cap, can you believe these guys? Can you believe these guys are wearing sauna suits a week out of weigh-ins because they think that's gonna help them like lose weight in the suit? Explain. Can you explain that logic to me?
I'm gonna perform so bad for this next month. So terrible.
It's weird. They literally think dehydration is weight loss. That's what it seems like, at least, right? But then they go have a glass of water, and then they're like, "Oh, I didn't lose any weight."
No.
Like,
and in fact, there might even be like a super compensation effect afterwards.
I'm gonna trash my last month of training.
Yeah, you really are.
It's so silly, and they do, man. They trash their last month of training, not only with the water stuff, but also with their food, because they're coming in. How are you gonna lose 30 pounds in a month if not starving yourself?
And they're also doing weird things like no carbs.
Oh my God. The no carbs things gets me, man. Okay, so listen, pretty much they're all doing everything backwards.
You know all those videos that you make that are like, here's this silly nutrition myth, and you're like, who still believes this stuff?
Combat sport athletes. Yeah. So
that's who.
Listen, so this is what's gonna happen here, okay? Remember when we first got into powerlifting? And remember when we started saying like this is the end of the
era of the fat powerlifter is over.
The era of the fat powerlifter is over. Like that stereotypical bearded, massive, bloated, hairy, stinky guy that grunts and is purple. Yeah, that was what we were fighting against, and we did it. We did it. Like, look what powerlifters look like nowadays. That's so dope.
Yeah.
You don't know if they're bodybuilders or powerlifters. It could be any, or sprinters. Like, they look so much more athletic.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we did that, but we played a role.
We definitely played a role in promoting it.
Exactly.
We were part of that big new push. I think also the fact that raw powerlifting became more popular has helped out a ton, because before it was like, the more disgusting fat mass that you could cram in a suit, the more, tension and pressure was going to be there, the more it was going to help you lift. It's like those guys, the hardest part of the squat for them is literally going down. Same with the bench press. Touching their chest is the hardest part.
But we also fought against the misconception that the whole mass moves mass thing.
Yeah. Lean mass moves mass.
Exactly.
Not
exactly.
Just being a doughboy.
Exactly. But man, like there were people who would put on 10, 20 pounds thinking that was going to make him hit 100-pound PRs at the meet or something.
Yeah.
Just by magic, you know?
Yeah, you'd have like little 5'6" dudes being like, I'm going to move up to 242.
Why?
Just lift more. Get strong at the weight class you're at. You're already chubby.
For that, honestly, especially for strength sports, the best advice is to, if you want to move up a weight class, to let your body naturally do that. You know, like don't restrict your calories.
It will, yeah.
Don't restrict your calories. Maybe slightly increase the amount of protein and carbs that you eat. You know, slightly, and see what happens. Because that's how I went like up in weight.
Yeah,
I got all the way up to like 136 at one point. And I never intentionally planned on doing that, but I was eating for the purpose of fueling my workout sessions, you know, without regard for my weight.
Yeah, and you were also, I think it was just a product of like as you got stronger, you know, the volume. Even if you kept all your sets and reps the same, the volume goes up because the weight's going up. You're moving more weight,
right?
And that's creating adaptations.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, that happens naturally for anybody who wants to move up weight classes. Just slightly increase the amount of food that you eat and do more work, you know.
Otherwise, you get in that horrible situation. This happened to me when I moved to 198 for the first time, where I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to eat whatever I want for this entire prep. I won't even have to cut for this meet. And then, boom, next thing you know, I'm 205. And now I'm cutting to 198. I'm like, oh, the dream lasted like a week.
Yeah, so and now you're still cutting.
Huh?
And now you're still cutting.
Yeah, 5 years later.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, in combat sports, the whole, you know, I see most fighters really do the whole dieting for the fighting correctly, but also the dieting for performance, they do incorrectly. Like what you were saying, training depleted, you know, not, or fasting and doing a 3-hour boxing sessions are some of the most intense workouts that I've ever done. And I've played many sports.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that they're brutal. Okay. Yeah. Most gyms have no AC. They're hot as fuck. We have several times a week, we have the sessions on purpose in the sun, on the track, you know, at midday in Miami, Florida.
You know, honestly, on the track in the middle of summer in the Florida sun is a cooler environment than inside that gym that you train at.
Probably, honestly.
Dude, I go in there and I'm like this. I'm trying my best not to move, and I leave with my shirt soaked.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, even just like their understanding of energy balance, they really don't get it. They don't understand the importance of protein requirements for combat sport athletes. You know, the recommendation nowadays is at least 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. That's a shit ton of protein. And I'm willing to bet that not even 10% of the guys that train, the people that train at my gym get that.
Yeah. That's of lean mass, and if you're a strength focused athlete though, right?
No, combat sports. Like I literally read through the Sigma nutritional recommendations for combat sport athletes, and that was a recommendation. Yeah. Then it's the understanding about the importance of sodium. I mean, that was crazy. I brought some sodium potassium tabs the other day with me to the gym, and people looked at me as if I was crazy putting sodium in my body. Wow. Meanwhile, we're all losing, man, at least 3 to 5 pounds after every session. You've seen how depleted I look.
You look like you just cut to make weight for a powerlifting meet, like a big cut. You know, so your face is sunken in. Your eyes are sunken back.
Yeah, and that's just one session. And these guys refuse to put sodium in their water and refuse to like drink a lot of water during the session because they want to seem tough. Like today we were outside. I was running with Philip. I forget what his name is, but it's this
football players die doing that.
Croatian guy. And after every 3-minute round, the coach would, you know, allow us to drink water, and he would go, water no win. And I'm like, no, drink your water, dude. You're gonna die of a heat stroke out here. It's 100 degrees.
Oh my God.
You know? So yeah, I don't know what it is. They don't understand, like, you know, the importance of that and how much water they need to be drinking during and after a session, how they should supplement with potassium and sodium or other electrolyte beverages. and all of these different things. And then, the carb thing, that one is mind blowing to me.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just our opinion too. We've talked about this with people who work really closely with combat sports athletes. I remember last time we were in Vegas, we were talking to Andy Galpin about it, and he's like, it's just starting, like the science of performance nutrition and strength training, like on a high level, is now just permeating into mixed martial arts. I think mainly probably because they have that UFC facility there. In Vegas, where they have doctors and dietitians and all that stuff. But he's like, it's just starting with them. It's hard to convince them. And then you go to boxing and there's nothing.
Nothing. In boxing, there's nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Because there's not a centralized, like, okay, there's Bellator and there's K1 and there's there's one fighting championship and all those other ones. But UFC almost has a monopoly on it. All the best fighters are in the UFC, right? So they have the ability to like put a big facility like that up. Whereas in boxing, they're all spread out everywhere, signed with different promotions. And it's like I think it'd be a lot harder for them to do something like that. Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see where that goes. But so just to wrap up the topic of nutrition for combat sports, let's start with the importance of protein. Protein are basically the building blocks for your muscles. You need it in order to build lean mass, to recover for muscle protein synthesis. So after workouts, when you've trashed all of your muscles, you need a certain amount of protein in your system to be able to build yourself back up and maintain as much lean mass as you can, which is in your best interest. Like, not only will it improve your body composition, it'll help you recover better from your workouts, and it'll help you retain a larger amount of lean mass. So the recommendation is 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight, not even lean mass. It's 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight.
Damn, it's a lot.
It is a lot. I forget what the number for that they give for water was, but it was. Man, I
thought traditionally it was an ounce per pound of body weight a day.
No, they had another one. They had a different one for combat sports.
Oh, okay.
But it's probably something similar. Like they all more.
They're all just kind of a rule of thumb type thing. Anyway.
It's all approximation.
Yeah.
Then obviously carbohydrates. I don't know why in combat sports they have something against carbs that I really don't understand why, but I mean, it just shows their lack of understanding of physiology and energy systems. You know, carbs are the preferred fuel of choice for high intense activities. So you're using glucose your body's using glucose to perform all of those like high burst, high energy demand activities. And then obviously boxing is interesting because, especially when you start doing the longer fights, the 8, 10, 12 rounders. Obviously, it's a mix of aerobic and anaerobic. So at that point, your body's going to use carbs, fats, and your muscle in order to regenerate enough energy. But it's important to go into those either long training or long trainings or long fights with with your glycogen stores full, because that's what's going to fuel your sessions and that's what's going to make you feel good. I've seen a lot of people go into the gym and they complain about feeling flat or feeling weak.
Yeah.
And it's exactly that. I've even experienced it myself. Sometimes if I have training too early in the morning and I don't eat breakfast, maybe I didn't even have like a solid dinner the night before, I feel like my punches have like no snap, no power, just feel slow, Like I want to move fast and I want to be explosive, but my body literally can't do it. So that's why, because you're not eating enough carbs. And I'm not saying go crazy with carbs. I'm saying, eat the right amount for you. Depends on your body weight, your activity level, and all those things.
And if you are cutting or whatever, you can plan to have the majority of your carbs around your training session, so you at least feel good. Man, but in your training sessions.
For the amount of training that these guys do, even like a low amount of carbs is still gonna be solid. For a guy who's 200 pounds training 3-4 hours a day, they can easily keep their carbs at 250 and still lose weight.
Oh, for sure. And the bigger guys, I'm sure, way more. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and even us. I mean, I think now I'm eating a ton.
Well, when I'm in my maintenance, carbs are like 300 to 320 grams.
Yeah.
So it's and I'm not doing any aerobic activity really, just like casual cardio.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they could have a ton.
Yeah. The thing is that they need to get into the mentality of, not going up and down weight that drastically, that aggressively, especially if they have subsequent fights afterwards. Yeah. So, man, like you're cutting 20 pounds of body fat in 6 weeks and then 10 pounds of water weight for the fight. That's a lot. That you're putting your body to work when you're doing that. And then they fight and then they blow up. The following week is insane, or following 2 weeks is insane. I've seen some pictures from the guys that fought bare knuckle a couple of weeks ago, and they've blown up. I'm not going to say names, but they've blown up. They look like different people.
Wow.
It's crazy. So, they're just making their lives incredibly more difficult.
The best guys don't do that.
Oh, for sure. A professional is a professional.
I don't think Canelo's like sitting there eating cake for a week, getting fat as hell.
No chance. No chance. I mean, we don't know, right? Maybe. I don't know.
He looked pretty svelte out there in his little golf tournament thing he was doing.
He did, but at the same time, it's Canelo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he's the best for a reason.
Exactly.
He's got it all dialed in.
Exactly. But yeah, fighters, combat sport athletes, if you're listening to this, change it. Head over to hybridnutrition.com. Let us help you. Let us enlighten you.
Oh, that's a good plug.
With science. But this wasn't meant to be a plug. This was literally just our observations, and I'm just doing my due diligence of calling people out when they need to be called out. So
that's what you do.
Exactly. So yeah, you guys fix up, man. Like be professionals and trust nobody except for science. And even then, sometimes you can't even trust it. But you can't really trust anything. What is the point?
This turned into something nihilist.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but for sure, check us out. In terms of your own training, though, I guess that's no more trips really for you, except the UK one, but that's because it's a boxing trip.
Yeah, I'm going to the UK to chase my coach.
Yeah,
he thinks I'm absolutely insane, Pedro, because he's going for 2 weeks because he has 2 fighters fighting, and I go. And what am I gonna do for those 2 weeks? Oh no, such and such is at the gym, and I'm like, no way, I'm coming. He can't get rid of me.
That's good, man. You're trying to soak it all in. You're new and you're eager to learn. You'll do whatever it takes, just like you do with powerlifting.
Exactly.
Yeah, but aside from that, you missed a sweet trip to Vegas, where me and Caesar got to go see Joe Rogan. We got to see Dave Chappelle, surprise opening by Tom Segura, and then the next night we went to the fights. And you watched the fights here, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same, let me tell you. But
Listen,
tell me what you thought. Tell me what you thought. There's so much happened on that card.
I know. It was unbelievable. Crazy card.
First of all, I don't know what to make of the Sean O'Malley fight.
Listen, the Sean O'Malley fight. Okay. Do I think Sean O'Malley is an absolutely amazing fighter? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Big fan of Sean O'Malley. He has personality. He has a really interesting style. Mm-hmm. He fights really well.
He's like super fluid and unorthodox.
Yeah. I like it. The guy said he's a showman. I like it. He came out of a big loss with a thing that happened to his leg. He had a lot of
someone after. Yeah, he broke. He hurt his leg against Cheeto Vera, which ultimately led to a loss.
Right. I think this was his first fight back.
I thought he had won before.
No, we would have known.
Okay. Either way.
Actually, now I'm second guessing myself. But I don't know either. But
either way, every time he fights, there's been a question mark because he hasn't fought anybody in like the top 15 yet. So everybody's like, is he that good, or is he just not fighting that good of guys?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I saw this fight was a lot different to that fight where he broke his leg or his foot, whatever. I didn't see him take that many risks and do that many like crazy interesting things.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was kind of like, he landed a ton of shots, but they weren't like, he wasn't going for kill shots. He was popping in and out. He was getting some big combos in, but he wasn't like loading up. He was just like,
But why? He wanted to make the fight last?
I don't think so. I think he thought he just hit him enough that he'd fall down.
Yeah,
and
but
for like
he
90%
wasn't.
of people, he would have. He dropped him with the straight at one point, but that was early on in the fight, and then the guy just zombie mode pushed forward the entire time.
I know, it was crazy. That was crazy to watch.
Dude, and people were like, everyone around was booing that they stopped the fight with 30 seconds left. And it's like, you should let him go out on his shield. It's like, no, man, there's a brain inside that head that's so hurt right now.
Yeah, and
why are you going to let that thing get pounded for another 30 seconds? It's done. He's not coming back.
No.
He didn't catch Sean O'Malley with any big shots.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing happening.
Yeah. Yeah. There was nothing miraculous that could have happened.
Already. Yeah. So I think Herb Dean gets so much shit, but I think he made a good call there.
Yeah. Oh, he did?
Who did he fight? I can't remember it.
Me neither. Did he win?
Yeah. That's what he has one loss technically, but he doesn't count it. So he made all those shirts that said 13-0. He still says still undefeated every time he wins. He's like, that was a fluke. It doesn't count.
That's cool. I mean, I respect that.
Yeah. But yeah, I know. Well, he called out a bunch of people. He called out a bunch of people in like the top 5. So I think he's gonna end up fighting someone good in the next one. So we'll know.
I mean, it seems like Dana White really likes him.
They're grooming him to be like the next McGregor, it seems. Because he's interesting, right? Like the guy who's got the belt in his weight class now, like interesting style, but won because Peter Yan kneed him while he was on the ground. So he won. He got knocked out and won the belt, which is the first time that's ever happened. It's also insane. I feel like it should have been a draw.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to win a championship by losing, and then
on a technicality.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. How that works is interesting to me. Like how they groom certain fighters to become the next thing in the sport. I was thinking about that when I was watching the McGregor documentary.
Yeah.
Because he gets filmed in his like humble beginnings, where
UFC's already all over him. It's like, how did you even know this guy? This guy, you're literally filming him when he's in Cage Warriors and he's living in his mom's house with his girlfriend, in the basement.
Yeah,
and poor,
Yeah. So how did you know? I mean, obviously I guess he had all the signs of being a potential talent, but it's crazy to me that they invested that much and it actually played out. So I'm just curious as to how much does that actually happen?
Yeah, they did that with Eddie Hall. Remember that? We watched that documentary, and they were literally filming him from the time he's like 10th. Halfway through the documentary, he's 4th, and then it wraps up with him winning.
Right, but here's the thing.
And it's like years out.
Okay, but here's the thing. Strongman is different to fighting in that you actually have to fight for that spot, right? Like everybody is on the same arena.
In what?
In strongman.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like in combat sports, you are essentially Dana gives you permission to fight. Like he invites you to fight based on many different things. Like not only your skills as a fighter, it's mainly your skills as a fighter, your ability to sell tickets, your personality.
Yeah, and they're like, and because they want Sean O'Malley to do well, they don't throw him in against the top 5 guy right away.
Exactly.
They let him beat up on a bunch of,
exactly
20, 25 place guys.
Exactly.
And then what else? Who has another good fight?
McGregor.
Well, we'll get to that, obviously. Burns and Wonderboy. Everybody around me, I guess they're just casual fans, and they're like, everybody thought Wonderboy was going to win. Burns was an underdog. I'm like, there's no way that guy loses.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's an absolute animal. He's good stand-up. Pretty sure he's black belt BJJ, and Wonderboy's great, but he's 40-something years old and, pretty much just a kickboxer. So that was good. I won money on that fight, so I was happy.
Nice.
Who else was good? Oh, the Australian guy who came up to the Spice Girls and then knocked out Greg Hardy and then drank a beer out of his shoe.
Yeah, that was unnecessary.
That was a lot.
That was a lot to take in.
And also, just what a look that guy had, huh? Like nothing about him. Made me think this guy's going to win. I'm
just curious as to how did it happen? How did it go from him being in a meeting with his team and being like, you know, it'd be cool if
you should up Dexter for us. Thank you.
If I came out to, you know what song I'm gonna pick for my walkout? Spice Girls.
Yeah, he's for sure just that
and then,
guy, though.
After I win, I'm going to pour beer in my shoe and drink it.
Apparently, he does that all the time. That's like a thing. It's called a shoey. And I think you spit in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what you do. You
pour no. In, I know what a shoe is, but no. I think other people are supposed to spit in it and then you drink it, right?
That's gross.
Don't ask me how I know.
You do a shoey after your next one?
No.
But yeah.
Oh my God! You want to listen to something hilarious? Actually, that happened to me this morning.
Yeah.
So, you know that they bully me at that gym, right? In the best of ways, by the way. I'm not actually being serious, but I am Caesar. You're gonna love this. Listen to this. I'm finally at a place where I'm the one being bullied. I know, beach. Yo. So for years, I've been terrorizing people around me, making fun of them. Huh? Yeah. Caesar, every time I see him alone, he's curled in a ball, crying about something I said 2 years ago.
Yep. I've been with you for 6 years. My self-esteem is shot.
Nick is new. He still doesn't know. He's taking it easy
innocent
on you.
And naive.
I'm taking it easy on you, kid. You are. I'm taking care of you for now. Till you're 25, and then, you know, yeah. So at this gym, I don't know. Everybody picks me to pick on, essentially.
You're like the little sister.
Right, but I love it. Like, I don't care at all because I've been on the other side. I know how that goes. I understand. So anyway, today the coach goes, that the commentators and people on the live stream during my fight were saying that they were disappointed that my shorts were so big and not revealing enough. And I was like, what? And then the coach goes, he's like, yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I agree with him. You that thing that you wore made you look like an old lady.
What?
An old lady from the 60s. And I'm like, the fuck?
No way, dude. I thought that was sick. That gladiator outfit you had?
I don't know, but I'm changing it up for next time.
I guess so. Can't be getting ridiculed like that.
No.
Oh my God. Okay, so what do you think of the McGregor fight? I found myself making excuses for McGregor, and I listened to Brendan Schaub, and he was talking about how that's just what we do because we, as like a community of fight fans, love McGregor. So it's like every time he loses, we have a reason for it. The Khabib fight, well, that's because he didn't really train that hard for it. The other Poirier fight, that's because he was training boxing to fight Manny Pacquiao, so he wasn't preparing properly. Which one? What other ones? This one. Oh, well, he broke his leg. It would have gone. It's just like we always have something, but if he keeps losing, can we keep, saying that?
Yeah, I don't know.
But at the same time, there's still a part of me that's like, yeah, but he did break his leg, though, so maybe he'll come back next time and win and be better.
Okay, I mean, here's the thing. There's no doubt that McGregor is a phenomenal fighter. He's had an impressive career for many, 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 many years. He's been undisputably one of the best fighters the UFC has ever seen. Right?
2-division champion. Can't take that away from him.
Yeah, exactly. And just stylistically speaking and just...
Oh, Karate Sense McGregor. Those are the days.
Yeah, oh my God, I love him. And, he's built himself to the place where he's at now. And what happens is that when you're at the top
Yeah. Oh, this is what I was saying the other day, right?
Yeah, when you're at the top, just everybody wants to see the person who's at the top and who's been at the top and who's making a shit ton of money without even having to be in the sport. Everybody wants to see that person fail. Everybody wants to see someone break McGregor's face or whatever it is, and I get that because that is exciting. Like I'm a McGregor fan, but that'd be something that was something interesting to see Poirier beat him,
Yeah. I also think there's a bit of a case of, this is what I was saying to you before, where everybody can relate to like the come up story, right? Everyone loves that like rags to riches, broke guy overcoming the odds, doesn't have much, he's beating all the best guys, But then as soon as you make $100 million off a fight and then sell part of your company for another $100 million, no, you're not the everyman anymore that everybody can relate to. Now you're the evil rich guy who's making fun of the poor, not as wealthy fighters, know? So it's like, I get why it's happening, but also now knowing why it's happening, it's like, it's kind of annoying.
Look at Dexter.
That dog is such a freaking nut, man.
Ridiculous.
Always sitting back there distracting the hell out of me while we're podcasting.
What I find, I don't know, what I don't understand is, given the amount of financial success that McGregor has had over the past few years, and given that he was formally retired, okay, so he got called out, he got the opportunity to fight again. Cool. If you want to take that, take it. But take the training camp seriously. Yeah. There's too many distractions around him. He has way too much going on with his kids, his wife, his companies, traveling, like all these other things that, he isn't fighting with that like passion and with that fire inside anymore. He's achieved everything that there is to achieve. And that's what I was telling you the other day about, because we were commenting on Paul versus Askren fight. Yeah. And how like Askren has done, he's an amazing fighter, but it definitely looks
Hall of Famer.
But it definitely looks like he kind of underprepared. And then I put myself in their shoes. I'm like, if in 5 to 10 years time somebody challenged me, to go head to head on a deadlift competition for the deadlift world record at 123, whatever it is. Like, I don't even know if that's something that would really, really interest me. Like, if there's a lot of money down the line, I would take it to make the money. Right. But I don't think that I could pull out the same fire out of me that I had when I was in my prime competitive powerlifting years. Like,
what if it was a new goal? Like, what if, because you've always had the goal, for example, of being the lightest woman to deadlift 600 pounds?
But that's a me thing. Like that would be for me.
That is an internal driver.
But it's for me. It's not to prove anything to anybody or to beat anybody else. It's for me. If I did that, it'd be for me. And that's powerful. But to do it because someone else called you out, like, who the fuck are you? You don't think
McGregor's doing it because he just loves fighting and wants to fight? Like he said, at least in his interviews, is that like, why are you still doing it? He's like, because all of the greats have like endless highlight reels. He's like, yeah, I've done it all. I've won the belts, all this stuff, but I still want to keep building my highlight reel. It's like, I'm here for a legacy, and that's what a legacy is.
Yeah, okay, that's cool, but then be dialed in for the fight, no?
Yeah.
Like super dialed in for the fight.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true, man.
And we don't know, because I think I'm speaking out of my ass to a certain extent, because I don't know what his camp looked like.
It's true. We all just assume that he's like living like Dan Bilzerian.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. But listen, congratulations to Dustin Poirier. I've seen firsthand how he trains. I know he's dialed in. I know he trains really, really hard, and he's shown time after time that he's been improving his skills as a fighter every fight almost. And I thought he looked amazing in that fight.
Yeah.
But this is the only thing that upsets me about that whole fight was, and again, it has to do with the Paul brothers. Like, I don't know, man. I really struggle with that the fine line between entertainment and disrespect. Like, I get it that you want to make it entertaining and you want people to like talk about what you're saying, what you're doing, and you want, he's playing the heel, and we really don't know to what extent like it's an act, and to what extent they mean what they're saying and how they're saying it. I don't know. As a person who's mildly involved and who's also a fan of the sport, I'm confused. I don't really know. And as a professional athlete who's been at the top in different sports, I know for a fact that I wouldn't feel good if that was happening to me. Like, I wouldn't feel good if I have a loss and somebody makes a little makes a joke out of me, that.
Well, and the whole world is doing it to him now.
Right, but it's because of the influence that Jake Paul has.
You think? Just
yeah.
him? I think a lot of people want to see him fail just because of how, like we said before. But I mean, he's definitely not helping, and he's the guy with the biggest platform. That's
People always people love kind of hopping on the bandwagon of like someone hating on someone, but you need that one person to lead the shit talking for all the other people to like hop on.
Yeah, there's got to be a first one.
There has to be a first one. So, and to the extent that they are doing it, it's just, to me, I don't like that. I really don't like that. I think there's a tactful way of doing it, and then there's because again, like I said,
McGregor was getting like kind of crossing the line with some of the things he was saying too.
But to Poirier,
yeah.
I mean, but did Poirier do something to?
Not really.
I think what was happening there was that, because that's a complete 180 from what he did the prior fight. And almost like people were complaining about it. Oh, McGregor, like he's being so nice. Like, that's so out of character for him. That's probably why you lost the fight. Like, you came in there like way too peaceful, way too amicable. You didn't have the dog in you. And now he tried to do the opposite and also get slammed. So it's like, you can't win.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, I felt like it was an easy low blow to like talk about the guy's wife. Like, it's just kind of like a cheap one. It's not that clever. Whereas like the other stuff that he used to say, remember when he'd be like, "It's red panty night when you fight me." He'd call your wife up. You say, "Get the red panties ready. We're eating well tonight. If we're fighting McGregor, we made it." Like, he would say stuff like that. That was like, it was an insult without just being like, like lazy. You know what I mean? Everybody can make a mama joke, or your girlfriend or your wife joke kind of thing. So he kind of like, he lost me on that one, but he had a few good ones. I like how he always goes after him.
Where did you draw the line? What was the one that upset you?
He just kept talking about Poirier's wife, like saying that his wife's DMing him, and he called her a hoe in the ring when he was sitting down.
That's a lot.
He also was talking about murdering him.
Oh.
He said you're gonna get it in your sleep, you and your wife.
Oh.
You and your wifey, like all like crazy stuff. But also, I heard this point, which is a good point. Okay. Why is Joe Rogan sitting down interviewing a guy who just had his leg snapped in half? I might say some crazy shit if with a microphone shoved in my face right when my leg is snapped in half. What's going through your head? You're free and losing your mind, dude. You're full of adrenaline. Your leg is dangling. Like, I don't even know what's going on.
And it's because of this guy who's like standing right opposite of you.
Yeah, I'm pissed. It's probably the low point of his life is what just happened to him. And then you're like, thoughts? Tell the world how you feel. And he's like, fuck you, fuck your wife, fuck everyone. Yeah, like, yeah, duh. He's a bit rattled. So I think you got to cut the guy some slack in that sense. But at the end of the day, I guess you're still responsible for what you say. So either way, love him or hate him, there's going to be another McGregor fight in like a year and a half probably, and it's going to...
I hate having to wait that long.
It's actually really annoying, right?
Yeah.
But at least there's a few other guys that like... I hope Sean O'Malley fights again really quick because he
probably
get
will.
punched.
Yeah.
And hopefully some good girl fights.
Well, if you guys aren't following the bare knuckle scene, next week is Paige Van Zandt's second fight against Rachel Ostovich. and I'm super excited. I'm gonna go up to see for sure.
I
It's
wish
up in Tampa.
I wish in bare knuckle we could blur out their faces. Like, I like everything about the sport.
You don't like seeing it?
No, I call me soft. I've gotten to a point in my life where that type of like graphic disfigurement I'm just not interested in. I think it's gross. Even in MMA, when someone's face is like that guy that Sean O'Malley picked apart, when they called it, I'm like, thank God that guy's face looks like ground beef. You know, like
ground beef, dude.
Oh my God! Did you see that one?
Yeah, the one that had an open skull
in the early prelims. They cleaned it when they pulled the blood out of that girl's off her cut. She had like an inch wide by like a half inch thick cut that was you could see straight into her skull. It was the bone of her skull. Didn't like that. That's too much, you know? Blur it out.
That's what's nice about
Blur
boxing.
it out for the kids. Yeah, because this is what I was saying to Caesar actually about this. I was like, what I like about boxing is they're gonna look horrific the next day, right, or later that night. But as a viewer, majority of the time, you're gonna see two guys that look fairly okay at the end of a fight, right? Yeah. Sometimes you get a cut, sometimes you get a little
eye.
Yeah, but like you're not destroyed and on camera. And, you know, we all have to see it.
Yeah.
So. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, my next training session starts in 14 minutes.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Cool.
What is it? 1 hour flat.
Oh, that was good. All right. That's a wrap. Also, stay tuned, everybody, before we go. There's going to be an announcement soon about the hybrid showdown. We're going to, if you haven't been paying attention, we announced the initial prize pot is going to be $60,000 to start. That's all being put up by Hybrid. It's a way that we can give back to the community and bring some of the best lifters in the world to the platform. That so far we have it set that first place, both male and female, is going to get $20,000 each, and we're going to split up the rest of the pot down from there for second male and female and third male and female. And then as sponsors come in, we're going to keep adding to that so that prize money is going to go up and up as we get closer to the day. And we'll also be announcing the date shortly. I can't remember if I said that or not, but we will be doing that. So stay tuned on our social media and on the podcast so you don't miss any cool announcements. As always, don't forget to screenshot this episode while you're watching. Tag us in your stories, me, Stefi, Hybrid Unlimited, and that automatically enters you into a draw to potentially win some Hybrid Legacy apparel. And that's it. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye.